Goodwill Ambassador of Gatlinburg is one of his many titles. I've got to go.
Glenn, it's good to see you.
You've been playing along, have you?
Well, I started back at Elkmont when I growing up back in Elkmont. My daddy played the fiddle. The first thing I learned to play was the guitar. And we just played for our own amusement back there in the mountains, you know. I lived up on the last place we lived for Little River Lumber Company till they went out of business. And I guess you'd call him a lumberjack. And then he helped them take up the steel after Little River Lumber Company went out of business, helped them take up the steel all the way to Townsend. Then Park come along and started buying up land, and he helped survey the park out. He got in a job like that, surveying the park, and he worked for the Park Service till he retired.
Where was Midge Lane, and did you begin playing much up in there and working as a lumberman too?
No, I didn't work as a lumberman. I guess I was 17 or 18 when we moved out. I was born in 1916. I was born out here on Timothy Creek. Glenn knows where it's at. I know you go out to Webb's Creek, you know, and it goes back up to the right, back up in the mountains there. And my family moved out of there when I was 6 months old, moved to Gatlinburg, through Gatlinburg to Elkmont on a wagon and team, you know.
Did you all just sort of flip-flop on a house? Did you just trade houses?
Yeah, back in the mountains, we just rented them and things like my daddy's, where we lived out on Timothy Creek, had an orchard. He sold it, and we moved to Elkmont, way back in on Blanket Creek, they called it, the other side of Elkmont. And he worked driving a team, hauling logs down the mountain for the railroad, for the, you know, where they could pick them up with the loader, load them on the flat cars. And then we moved out of there to Elkmont.
Did you get to schooling up there?
Yeah, all the school I went to was Elkmont School, where that big campground is now, where the school was.
How far did you live from there?
About 2 miles.
Back up toward the right or the left fork?
Left, well, going into Elkmont, the campground's on the right, and Midge Branch is on the left.
When did you start playing music? And how did it develop with you? What did you do?
Well, my daddy's the one got me started, because he played the fiddle, and the first thing I learned, the boys around, us boys in the neighborhood, got guitars and just started thrumming on them and fooling with them, and that's the way I learned. I never took a lesson on nothing.
Did you have time to play?
Yeah, we farmed, and we'd play at night, and Sunday afternoons we'd get down to the school field where the church and school field was, and take our guitars and play for the kids.
Who did you admire then? Did you have a hero of musicians?
Well, I also admired Hobe Tradham. Did you ever know him? Hobe was Uncle Levi's grandson. Uncle Levi, you've heard of him, ain't you? Mm-hmm. Uncle Levi Tradham. Now, Hobe, he learned to play for any of us, and he played the guitar and sang. And I'd admire him, you know, for that, because I couldn't play then, but I thought he was the best in the world. Hobe died here back last summer, I think. Buried him over at Elkmont.
Did you have access to guys like the yodeling cowboys and some of the early people on the radio? Could you?
Well, I'll tell you, after I moved out to Gatlinburg, is when I really got started in playing professional. I played for years, for 20 years, for square dances. Used to be a place in Earl knows about it. I was telling him about it. At Grady's place down there along about the crossroads, Kudo's got a motel down there. And Grady's place was back in there, a big dance hall, and I played for square dances there. I learned to play a fiddle good enough to play 2 or 3 tunes to play for a square dance, and that's where I got my practice.
Who played with you there?
Well, it's different ones. Jack Groom, he's playing now. He plays now at the Riverside Motor Lodge. Him and Fred McMahon and Randy Chambers, a bunch of them, and Randy Watson it is. And I just played around with different ones, and I played with about all of them out in Nashville. And I got a son now, Roger, his son played and sung on the Grand Ole Opry with Vic Willis Trio, sung with the Vic Willis Trio about 2 years.
Did you ever play on the Midday Merry-Go-Round?
Yeah, for Lowell Blanchard in the Tennessee Barn Dance. And Roger was singing on Tennessee Barn Dance when he's 6 years old. I took him down there. He played a little old ukulele.
Was that the golden age of music?
I thought it was, but seemed to me like, you know, the rock and roll come along in, and country kind of went out for a little while. Lowell come backstage where I sat on the bench. He come back there and he said, "Jim," said, "country music is gone." I said, "Lowell," I said, "country music may be gone, but it'll come back." And it did, stronger than ever. That's about the time Lowell Blanchard down there on the Midday Merry-Go-Round.
Did you see him sort of fade in spirit toward the end?
Yeah. He you know, he'd talk to me at rock and roll was taking over and country music going plumb out. I said, "Lowell," I said, "it may go out, but it'll be back."
Did you play on the street for the tourists? Where did you play for the tourists?
I played in Gatlinburg, played at Wiley's shop. Wiley Oakley had a shop down there. You've heard of Wiley Oakley, I'm sure. And he had a shop, and we got to playing, me and Clyde Maples, Fred Maples, and Harvey Oakley, and a bunch of us got to playing, Shorty Reagan. We got to playing, and we'd play for the tourists. And Wiley'd go up to Mountain View Hotel and tell them when we're going to play, and here'd come a whole crowd down there, and we'd get in there and play, and they'd pitch nickels and dime pennies at us. And we played for years for Wiley Oakley down there. And then Grady built a square dance, and we started playing there.
What did Wiley sell at his shop?
Old novelties of all kinds. Shuck dolls, anything, neckties, homespun neckties, you know, and stuff like that.
Was he a good businessman?
Well, his wife done most of it, and Wiley's directing. He was an old mountain guide. He guided a lot of people through the mountains, you know. And he'd been up on the Mountain LeConte and took a group up there. He'd hike with them, you know, had him a walking stick, wore a big black hat, and redbird feather in it, and boots with the socks turned down over his boots. And he took a group up to Mount LeConte, and I think they stayed overnight or something. Anyway, while they was up there, he took some potatoes out there and buried them under a balsam tree. And next group he took over there, he told me he was going out there and get some balsam taters. And somebody went along with him to see, you know, if he did. And he dug up balsam taters out from under that balsam tree. Yeah, they thought it was really balsam taters.
Wiley was a pretty good guy, wasn't he? He was pretty much
one of the best. He was a second father to me.
He was?
He sure was.
Now, he played and sang, too, and he told stories.
He told stories all the time. I never knowed him singing any, but he'd always tell. We went one time we was invited to the National Folk Festival in Washington, D.C. Me and Harvey, that was way back before I was married, before the war. And me and his son Harvey and Louis Maples, my nephew, he played the banjo and I played fiddle and Harvey the guitar. Went to Washington, D.C. for the National Folk Festival. Was up there for about a week. and they put us up in a hotel, paid us good, and then we got to go up, our transportation paid and everything.
What did Wiley do?
Wiley told stories, get out there and tell stories.
What kind of stories would he tell?
Well, he'd tell that about the cowboy, and you know it's on your
Tape.
yeah. He'd tell that, and he just told all kinds of this things, you know.
About finding men caught in a bear trap or
Yeah.
catching a bear.
Well, he was some character, I tell you. People loved him. All the people loved Wiley Oakley.
Why?
I don't know. He just tended his own business and just guided tourists. And he'd go to church down there where the First Baptist, they're tearing it down now. I got it tore down. First Baptist Church there in Gatlinburg.
Did he amuse people? And why did he make people feel good?
He sure did, because everybody loved him. I remember one time down there, he'd do little old funny things, say little funny things. I was down on the sidewalk with him, we were standing talking, you know, and some woman come walking down the road. And he thought he knew her. And she passed us. He just arrived back and said, "Well, I see you back." She just turned around and gave him a dirty look. He said, "I thought I knowed her." He do things like that, you know. He'd tell. I remember one time, at the same time, we went to Washington, D.C., coming back on the Blue Ridge Mountain. We drove out the Blue Ridge Mountain a ways, where the taxi driver drove us up there and back, you know. And he had a ball on the back of his neck, and he was giving him trouble all the time we was up there. We got out on that Blue Ridge Mountain, and I operated on him, took it, you know, got that ball out of there, and he'd get Lewis. Lewis wasn't used to, he was a young kid, you know, played banjo with us. He'd get Lewis with a hand up on Washington, D. He said, "Now the blue light's on, let's go." He'd run with Lewis across the street. And
you mean Lewis didn't know how to cross the street?
Yeah, he knowed how to cross the street. He afraid Wiley's afraid he'd get run over, you know, and he just give him the hand and take him. And Wiley was tired of walking on that concrete, you know, used to walking in the mountains on soft dirt and everything, and his feet was killing him, and grass looked awful tempting to him, you know. So he just got out and went to walking in that grass, and he hadn't took over 2 or 3 steps till a policeman had him by the arm. And he said, "Didn't you see that sign back there? Keep off of the grass?" He said, "I seen it, but said I couldn't read it." He said, "I'm from the mountains," and give him a story about the mountains, you know, and if he come down here, he'd take him a guide trip and everything, and he talked him out of it. He didn't know nothing about it, you know. He could find him for be out walking on that grass.
Wiley was pleading with him to let him walk on the grass.
Yeah, Wiley told him he'd come down here and he'd take him a guide trip, you know, through the mountains. Yeah, I tell the tourists all the time, joking, telling jokes. I've done that for years. I played for Claude Anders. You know Claude Anders down to Gatlinburg Earl Tramway?
Yeah. Where have you played here?
I played, had my own shows, different places in Gatlinburg, different spots. And I played for Claude for about 9 years up on top of Mount Harrison. Of a day, we played from 10 o'clock till 6 in the afternoon, 6 days a week up there, from May through October. And
At the big hotel on top?
no, there wasn't a hotel. It was up at the old Mount Harrison, just a big top of a mountain there, and we had seats and everything for people to ride the chairlift up there to sit in. And I've been up there and hit the snow and pouring snow. Well, altogether, I worked up there 13 years playing. And I tell the tourists that I was born and raised in the mountains. I grew up the hard way. I said I was so poor back in the mountains we couldn't even pay attention. I said I had 7 sisters and 3 of us boys and 2 of us was twins. I said my ma had us laying on the bed side by side one day, and my pa come walking through the house and took a look at us, turned around and told my ma, said, we can't afford them both. Said, you pick out the one you think's the prettiest you want to keep. Said, I'll take the other one down to the river and drown it. I said, if I hadn't been a good swimmer, I wouldn't have been here today.
Did you have 10 brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I had 7, that's true, 7 sisters. We wasn't twins, so 3 of us boys and 7 sisters. Big family.
Y'all could do a lot of work.
Back then, you know, they raised a family to help work on the farm. We raised corn, potatoes, beans, and anything, pumpkins. We raised a lot of pumpkins, because I like pumpkin pie.
What was the first song that you remembered playing?
Well, the first that I remember playing, Little Rosewood Casket. You remember that? Have you heard it?
Would you play us a little bit of that?
I'll play you about 2 verses, about all I know. There's a little rosewood casket resting on a marble stand. There's a package of love letters written by my true love's hand. The wind bring me, sister, read them o'er and o'er to me. Oftentimes I tried to read them, but for tears I could not see.
Whose song was that?
I don't remember whose it was. I don't remember, but that was an old song that they sung back when I was growing up. I was just little. I remember hearing that, and I was 5 or 6 years old. And that song that I sung at the first about Little Log Cabin in the Lane, that song goes way back there too. Because I remember that song when I was a boy growing up back in the mountains.
Did people have time for music?
Well, you see them, they didn't think too much about it, though. They had a radio, and I remember going to Nip Coggle's house. He's about rich people, ones that we thought was rich people, had a radio, battery radio. Go and listen to the Grand Ole Opry, you know, and listen to it. They'd all go to bed, and I'd stay up and listen to it, go off there, and I'd go home.
They would let you stay at the house?
Yeah. They'd go to bed, and I'd sit down and listen to the Grand Ole Opry. And I didn't play then. I started playing later, but I didn't play then. But I thought that was the best thing I ever heard in my life.
What did it teach you? Did it open your eyes to different things? I mean, your world was probably pretty much just all around Elkmont, huh? And that was as far as you knew the world.
Yeah, we loved old Elkmont, and we could fish and hunt all we wanted to and do anything we wanted to. And I just grew up that way, back in the mountains. That was home to me, and I couldn't realize it after I moved out for a long time. I kind of had a grudge, held a grudge against the park, you know, for taking our homes. And after a while, you know, kind of opened up to see as a benefit instead of.
How did your father react to it?
Well, he was working. He went to work for the national park, and he didn't seem kind. He never talked too much about it.
Not too upset about it?
No. But a lot of people moved out of them mountains. I know that grieved themselves to death about them mountains. Moved out down the flat country.
What do you mean grieve themselves to death?
Well, it is worried, you know, about their home back in the mountains is sitting, withered away. A lot of them did. A lot of them just, you know, couldn't forget the mountains and wanted to be back there so bad. I go back over there now, drive over there myself and sit there. You can't drive a car up Miz Branch now, but it's all grown up. But I go down and sit on them rocks where you go up Miz Branch, that nature trail. Sit there for an hour looking around where I used to trot down through there going to school and back and forth.
What do you think about when you sit up in there?
Oh, just all of the old remembers about the old home place back in there. People and everything.
Who were your neighbors back there?
Well, Nip Coggle was the first house, Joe Parton's first house there, the old foundation, as you go across that little footbridge up Miz Branch there, go right around the corner of Joe Parton's old home place. There's some rocks and cement still there. And Nip Coggle lived the next house up. Othy Ivy was our school teacher. Him and his wife both were a school teacher.
Othy Ivy?
Othy Ivy. And he lived up there. Fires Tranum lived up there. And Loy Omby. And some of the Tranum, Joni Tranum lived up there. And I said Lawrence Nolan. And Jim Shoes, he had a big family too, and they all farmed. Jim, on the later days, got a bunch of old horses and ran them to the tourists, you know, to ride. And Kerry Husky, Wilson McGill, and we lived. I told people that I lived on Rough Creek. Before they got their roof, and I lived in the last house.
The last house on Rough Creek.
Yeah.
Did each of these families have 30, 40, 100-acre farms? Was it, or was you all packed in there pretty tight?
Well, there's about, I guess, maybe 40 acres there where we lived.
How much of it did you farm?
Oh, about a third of it. We'd raise corn, you know, that was the main resort was the corn. You could raise it to make bread, to eat, and you feed your stock with it, chickens, hogs, cow, horses, and then you could either take it and make moonshine out of it.
They make a lot of moonshine up there?
It had been made, but I've been to those steel places where it's been tucked up, you know, the furnace is still there. I've been around them. My daddy told me he used to make it when he lived out Timothy Creek back up in the mountains. Used to make it.
Did he try to tell you to stay away from it, or did he ever say anything about it?
Well, Dad and Mother both was very religious in the years that I grew up. They took us to church. Took us to church all the time. Mama would get up on Sunday morning and scrub us up, an old wash tub, scrubbing water to give us a bath, and put us on clean clothes and march us to church.
Did you wear shoes?
In summertime, went barefooted. Didn't know what shoes was, hardly. In the wintertime, we'd get us a pair of new shoes.
But I mean, you wore shoes to church?
Yeah, I wore shoes. I went barefooted many times to church. All the kids did, you know. I was grown for. I know there's any other kind of breeches but overalls that you galluses on. Because everybody back in the mountains wore overalls.
They did most everywhere, I guess, in the country. You've seen a lot of different tourists come in here, haven't you? From the stages
Sure
and places
have,
you've
yeah.
been. What are they looking for?
They're looking for real mountain people and music and stuff like that in the mountains.
They're looking for the real mountain people.
Yeah.
Why?
That's why they want to see them. And a lot of them sees them every day and don't know it. A lot of them right down there in Gatlinburg walking around, people don't know they're mountain people.
Why do they want to see mountain people?
I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just a curiosity, I guess, wanting to see them.
They don't know it, that they see them every day.
Yeah,
Do they think that mountain people have certain talents, or are they strange, or?
I'll tell you what they're thinking about. They've seen some of these old movies with the mountain people, an old mountain man with the seat of his breeches out behind with a demi jug hanging over his shoulder there, walking around with a hog rifle in his hand and beard down the way down here, black beard. But they don't make mountain people like that no more.
They're looking for this. Are they looking for the stereotype, typical mountain person? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
Do they understand us?
Oh yeah, they laugh and make fun of the way we talk a lot of times. Not people from up north, you know, because we talk slow and grove, and
they sound kind of funny too.
they tell me about now where I played on these shows. They like to hear me talk because it's different, and I had that accent, and they just love that old mountain talk.
That's the only kind we know, though.
Where you from, Bill?
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga? I played down there too. You know where Eastgate Mall is? I played there for Craftsman's Fires.
How many times have you sung that old mountain cabin down the lane?
Gosh, I don't know how many times.
For 50 years?
I guess, off and on for 50 years.
Does that song mean anything to you especially?
Well, yeah, because the first house I lived in was a log house, Maggs's Mountain, where we moved to Maggs's Mountain, where my dad drove a team for Robert Tranum and logged, I was telling you about a while ago, logged the logs down out of the mountain for where the railroad could pick them up. And we lived in a log house, and the kitchen was built out of lumber off to the side, kind of. And I remember going out and scratching that dirt out between the logs.
Scratching it out?
Yeah, where it dried up, you know, and fell down, I'd reach and scratch a little out. I remember that. I was about 6 years old.
So your daddy ran a single tree logging out. He
worked for a contractor. He worked for a contractor that contracted the logs to get them out of the mountains, you know, for the railroad. And he drove a team of horses. And they'd have a big string of logs coming down out of the mountains with a team, pull them as far as from here out to the road out there, big logs. And they had a Carterall road, they call it Carterall Road, where they put logs in it, kind of angling them that way for the logs to run on, and they'd have a place when the logs got started running, they'd holler J-hole, and the horses would hit that hole. It had a J-grab on it. When they turned that way and went that way, it hollered J-hole. Them horses knowed what to do. They'd run right out, rub it right back up in that you had a place cut out for them, you know, road. They'd run up in there and the logs would go on down the mountain. And when they passed, well, they'd pick up their swingle trees and things and go on down hook to them again.
That's dangerous work, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. A lot of fellas I know, no man, I remember his got killed like a log rolled over him, that George Shoes, back in the mountain.
Have the tourists changed over the years?
Well, I don't know. It's
It was before the war, hadn't it?
yeah, yeah.
What were they looking for then?
Well, I think just the sights of the mountains and coming here, getting away from it all, where they didn't have to hustle and bustle.
And at night, they would come see you all, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I played at a place for several years called Homespun Valley down there in Gatlinburg, Homespun Valley, and it was a kind of a novelty place. They had things set up in there, and we played for it. Bill Owens played the guitar with me, and that was Dolly's uncle. And he'd bring Dolly over there when she was a little splinter-legged girl, and I'd put her on and let her sing. And she's saying, if you're going to be my baby, you just got to be my baby. I remember that. I doubt if Dolly'd know me now. Sure.
Did she have any talent then?
Nothing but singing. She's learned since then to play a guitar, I think.
I mean, could you tell she had any particular...
Oh yeah, she sounded good, but I didn't think she'd go to where she's at. I didn't think, you know. You just don't realize things back then. Everybody never knows what.
Did you ever think about going to Nashville?
I told my chance down to the Grand Ole Opry when me and my wife was first married, and we had my oldest son, Norman. He was about 2 years old then. And I played for Tubby Griffin down there in our airport field, close to where that new convention center went up. And had a Quonset hut there, made the aluminum that ran like that, with a dance hall out of it. And I played in there for square dances. And I got a letter from Judge D. Hayes, come to the Grand Ole Opry any Wednesday afternoon for an audition. And me and the boys talked it over, it was playing with me, and we was all married, and we just decided to get it and didn't go.
Just 1 second there. Oh, sorry. Jim? When you got your letter, why didn't you go?
Well, just like I told you, I just hadn't been married too long. We had the first child there, and he's 2 years old. And we was playing for square dancing, making what I thought then was pretty good money. And we decided to get it.
Did you ever regret that?
Well, not really. Cause I talked to Grant Turner. I played for a convention, DJ convention, and Grant was there. And I talked to Grant up at Twin Creek Picnic, or you know where it's at, up in the park down here, going up the airport road and up in there. Mm-hmm. And I played for it and talked to Grant Turner, and I was telling him about it. He said, Jim said, you might be better off if you didn't. Said a lot of them made it, and a lot of them said it was a tough life.
Have you had a tough life playing?
Not really.
Is it better, looking back now, how has picking up the guitar changed you from working a plow?
Well, it's just recreation to me. I worked for years of a day and do that of a night, play of a night. It's just something I like to do, and you just get it in your bloodstream, I reckon.
Do you ever write songs?
I wrote one song called Little Lamb Lost Out on the Mountain. You want to know how it goes?
Yeah.
Back. No, I never did try to write, Bill. I never did try to write any songs.
What is a musician, particularly a mountain musician, trying to convey through music?
Well, he's just trying to get along and make a living out of it, and likes to be around it.
Is there something about these mountains that, I mean, there's so many people that play and there are good musicians come out of these mountains.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, it just happens that way. Some of the best fiddlers and banjo players of all, right here in Gatlinburg, some of them.
Can you name some of them?
Well, Jack Groom plays the guitar, and Fred McMahon plays the guitar and plays the bass on Jack's show down there, if you ever get a chance to go and see it, down to Riverside Motor Lodge. And got Dorothy, a girl named Dorothy something on the fiddle plays out with him. But Randy Watson, he's played with, I played for Glenn a lot up here. Christmas thing, you know, Christmas is past. Every year for several years I've done that for Glenn every year. I get a group of boys that I played with and he's come up here and do it for him, play about an hour.
You were talking before about the tourists. How has the audiences changed, and how has the things that the audience wants to hear changed?
Well, people, they've gone away from, used to be old sad songs, way back there when I was growing up. Sadder you sung, the better they liked it. But now people's getting to like to hear something more lively, you know, instead of a tear-jerker. I call them tear-jerkers.
The sad old...
Like Crying in Your Beer song, you know.
You're cheating hard.
Yeah, like Hank Williams sung years ago.
Crying in Your Beer song.
Yeah, that's what...
That's the kind of music that the mountain people first played?
That's what they liked. That's what they liked. Well, they played other things too, like Sourwood Mountain, Cripple Creek, and Cumlin Gap, things like that.
Turkey in the Straw?
Turkey in the Straw. I played that many times.
What's the first fiddle tunes? Like, what are those old-timey fiddle tunes that you play?
Well,
name some of them.
Sally Gooden. Sally Gooden is one. Boil the cabbage down. Some of them say boil it down, but I say boil the cabbage down. And Old Joe Clark, Sourwood Mountain, and tunes like that.
You know any old Irish tunes, or is these? Some of those are Irish.
I used to play some on that Irish Washwoman. You remember it?
Yeah. What's that called?
Irish Washwoman. Irish washwoman, like washing, scrubbing on the scrub board.
Yeah, that's an old Irish. People think of that as an Irish jig, but that was an Irish washwoman song, wasn't it? That's what they call it.
I guess you keep time with that music rubbing on that rub board, don't you?
I reckon. Did you ever play with a group with a washboard?
I played with them where somebody played the washboard. I never did play a washboard, but
yeah, that's what I mean.
You just keep time with it like you would a bass fiddle.
What other kinds of instruments? Your juice harps?
Juice harp, I played that, and harmonica, we call them French harps. You know, mouth organ. And
different chords?
Well,
different ABs?
Yeah. Only thing I have to think about that, well, you'd have to get used to one. They'd tire your lips all to pieces, get your lips so you can't. My son got me one for Father's Day here a while back. Well, a couple of years ago, and I got it laid back down, never do play it. But I played on that thing a day or two, and my lips were sore, I couldn't even eat.
Jew's harp, mouth harp. What else?
Well,
Washboard, auto.
auto harp.
What's that?
That's one of them little old things that got a lot of strings on them, and you hold them up like that way, strum them. Called an auto harp. You don't see many of them now. Mama Maybell and them, Carter family used to play it. Back when I guess about the first tune that I learned to pick out on the guitar was one of Mama Maybell's, back when I was a boy, called a Wildwood Flower.
Did you ever see them play live?
Yeah, after you come to Knoxville, after I got going, moved out to Gatlinburg, they worked on the midday merry-go-round there for a while.
How long did you work on that?
Well, off and on 2 or 3 years.
So you can play the auto harp. What other kind?
I didn't play the auto harp.
Didn't play that.
No.
You ever played a gourd guitar? Gourd?
No, but I've heard my dad talk about making gourd fiddle. Play, a gourd banjo. Stretch a squirrel skin over it. The head fix it in a way, stretch a squirrel skin over it, and make a gourd banjo.
Make good sound?
I guess he did. I don't believe I ever heard one played, but I've heard my daddy talk about them.
Well, what would your daddy make a banjo out of?
Well, I don't know how he got the banjo. First, I've heard him tell about his banjo. It had 49 brackets on it. The hook that goes around that you tighten up to pull the stretch ahead. He always talking about the banjo he had 49 brackets.
Is that different than what we have today?
Yeah. Now they just have about, maybe 8 on them. And I guess they found out they didn't take that many to stretch that high down on. I played the banjo. I played on Cass Walker's show that they had. Cass Walker was an old grocerman, and I learned to play a banjo and went down and got a job with him, stayed with him 2 years, and I played the 5-string banjo. Things like Foggy Mountain Breakdown, Cripple Creek, and all them old tunes like that. You asked me a while ago if I had any of my other boys that played anything. I got my son, my youngest son, he's still at home. He plays drums, but he hadn't played none in about 2 or 3 years now, because the last place he played was in Macon, Georgia.
Do you think you'll be playing music forever?
Well, no, I was about laid it on the shelf, Bill.
Why?
I don't know, I just kind of lost interest in it. I don't care about it like I used to. After I retired and left that mountain up there for a while, I missed it, but now I don't. I've been retired about 5 or 6 years. Just stay around home, drink coffee, and got a cat over there. It's my pet. She's 18-year-old, and she's just like one of the family, and I stay around and tend to her and feed her and take care of her.
When you hear good music today, does it bring back the memories of your best playing times?
Yeah, it does. I like to hear it.
Do you listen to a lot of radio today?
I listen to television a lot. Nashville now, we get hits, and where they play these video tapes. See about all of them.
Did you play much at the Mountain View Hotel?
Yeah, I played out there several times.